What's up everyone, and welcome to Roundtable Gaming Episode 1. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the release of Torchlight 2. Torchlight 2 was released on the 20th of this month, and is $20 on Steam, or I believe any place else you can get it. Torchlight 2 is an adventure action RPG, similar to Diablo and Fate, but cheaper than Diablo. So, I pre-ordered this game a while ago, probably back in June. So I got it on the release date, and besides not being able to play co-op on the first day due to some issues they had, it's been a pretty smooth release. I believe, from what I understand and remember, I think it's been a smoother release than Diablo 3, even though I don't have that game and haven't had any personal experience with the problems that Diablo 3 had on its release. Torchlight 2 follows the storyline of Torchlight 1, obviously, taking place shortly after the events of Torchlight 1. Following the storyline, I think it kind of changes the storyline a bit. I think there's a total new villain in this one than there was in Torchlight 1. Actually, I'm pretty positive, so that's something new. And taking place in a different place than Torchlight 1. Torchlight 1 takes place in the town of Torchlight, and this one takes place in multiple locations around the world, but not in the town of Torchlight. So I'm just going to go over some of the things about Torchlight 2 that I really enjoy, and maybe some of the things I don't enjoy so far, and give my overall opinion of the game. So one of the things that I'm really enjoying about Torchlight 2 over Torchlight 1 is the fact that there's co-op in the game. This is an amazing addition. It makes the game 20 times more fun to play with your friends and level up together and get cool items and trade with each other when you get an item for one character or anything like that. Trading is amazing. But just all the things you can do when playing co-op is a ton of fun. Other things, they've just overall really smoothed out the gameplay of Torchlight 2 over Torchlight 1. Torchlight 1 seemed to have, the gameplay didn't seem to be very smooth, kind of stuttery, and overall Torchlight 2 is very smooth and very fun to play. I love the graphic style that they went with in the Torchlight games, and I think they even improved it in Torchlight 2. It looks very good, very, it is kind of a cartoon fantasy graphic style, but they nailed it. I think it looks excellent. The maps are some of the best maps I've ever seen in games. The terrain is amazing. Just overall, the graphic style is very good, and I just really enjoy it. They improved the skill trees over Torchlight 1 by a lot, in my opinion. In Torchlight 1, you had just like the different skills, and you just kept increasing them however many points you put into them. In Torchlight 2, you have skills, but not only do you have the skills and you continue putting points into those skills, you have different tiers. You have tier 1 of that skill, tier 2, and tier 3 of that skill, which I think is an improvement. I think it's neat that you can see just more improvement that they can add besides just the normal skill, and then improving it gets a buff, but then an additional buff with tiers 1, 2, and 3 depending on what tier you are on. The classes are very good. I think they all serve a function and things that are easy to see. They're very distinguished. You can use all the weapons with different characters, but you know, every class, you want to stick with the weapons that class is best with in order to do the best. The boss fights in this game are great. I love the boss fights. the boss fights remind me of fighting bosses back in games like Donkey Kong 64 and games like that, where the bosses were very intense and you felt just overall kind of stressed playing them. Just very intense, you know, you're hyped up, it's like insane, these bosses are crazy and you're like scared that you're gonna die, and they're great. I haven't felt boss fights like these in a very long time. Even in Skyrim, I didn't feel boss fights that were this intense. None of the quote-unquote bosses in the game felt this intense to me. I think that pretty much covers it for the things I'm really enjoying about Torchlight 2. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that kind of annoy me about Torchlight 2. No, I'm not sure if this changes over, you know, being on different difficulty levels, but you get rare and enchanted armor way too easily, in my opinion, in this game. Like, by the time you're level 2, you're wearing, like, pretty much all rare and enchanted armor. Then again, there's different levels to rare. There's, you know, very rare, and then unique, I think, might be the top. I'm not quite sure on that. There might be even more above that, but, you know, there's unique. Now, there are the usually very good items that you have to identify that have better enchantments than normal enchanted items, but I just think you get it too quickly, because if you are level 5, level 2, somewhere in that range, and you're already wearing pretty much all enchanted armor and rare armor, it's not, I don't think it's that good. I think there should have been more of a tier to it. You know, you start getting more rare the higher level you are. You start getting more enchanted the higher level you are. Because rare just doesn't seem to be rare. It just seems to be, you know, the armor you want to get instead of just normal unenchanted armor. Because you don't get normal unenchanted armor that often. That's pretty much my biggest problem with Torchlight 2, is the fact that you get that so quickly. I just think it would have been more challenging and more fun if you didn't get that so quickly. Again, there are multiple levels of enchanted items, the ones you have to identify, and then multiple levels of the rare items, the different levels of rarity. But just the normal rare, you get those, I think, way too quickly, and that kind of annoys me. I'm currently, when I'm playing it, I'm playing mostly co-op, and I'm playing on veteran, so I think there's one more level to that, besides playing like on a hard difficulty and playing hardcore. But it just seems to me that you get the items way too quickly, the rare items. So, enough about that. I can't really think of anything else that tends to annoy me about the game besides the fact that you get that rare item so quickly that I think it should have been bumped up, that you get it, it's harder to get. I would think you wouldn't at least start seeing any rare items until at least level 5 or 6, in my opinion. And I think Obi-Wan, who I play with on co-op, had a super rare or something along those lines at like level 5. So, just my opinion, I think you should get, you know, rare items shouldn't be dropped by normal mobs, and, you know, enchanted items, they should be dropped by, I don't know, mini bosses or stuff like that. I don't know. It just, if there was a way that you couldn't get rare items so quickly, it would have been better. I really need to stop talking about the rare items, but that's pretty much the only thing that I think I really have a problem with Torchlight 2. Other than that, I think the game is very good, and a lot of people see it as a good Diablo 3 substitute and cheaper, because Diablo 3 is $60 and Torchlight 2 is $20. And I think some people that have played the Diablo games like Torchlight 2 better. I don't know how many do. I really haven't played Diablo 3 or any of the Diablo games, so I can't compare them. But I really enjoyed Torchlight. I think it's a great game. Very fun. Very unique in terms of graphic style. Just overall, I think it's a very great game. I think you guys should check it out. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Roundtable Gaming. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and comment letting me know your thoughts on the topic. If you have any thoughts on topics that I can cover in later video, please let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next episode of Roundtable Gaming.